Hey guys, what's up? I'm going to help you today not make a whole bunch of mistakes when it comes to feeding your bees in the fall. Oh my gosh, so many beekeepers do it the wrong way because somebody told you to do it that way and you're just doing it wrong. I did it wrong so many times. I'm going to give you tips today on how to feed your bees in the fall. Before I do, I want to tell you a little quick story and something I'm hiding behind my back. You're not going to believe what I have behind my back. You want this really bad. You would love to have it, those of you that know all about feeding your bees in the fall. Well, many years ago, I bought out a commercial beekeeper. And I think I bought somewhere around 100 hives off of him and a whole bunch of equipment, extracting equipment, tanks, everything you can think of, you know, commercial guys have. But one of the things that was priceless that was included in the buyout was what's behind my back. And I couldn't believe at the time I got it, I didn't think it was that, crazy important to get. It was probably the best thing out of the whole deal, honestly. And I've actually sold a few of these because I hate to get rid of them, but some people have talked me out of them. But when you're feeding bees in the fall or even in the spring, you kind of get tired of having to change out those jars all the time because the biggest smallmouth jar that's available on the market that I can find is a quart-sized jar. But what I'm hiding behind my back today, look at this. Oh my gosh, it is an ancient, like an archive. Look at this. It's a half-gallon smallmouth jar, and I've got a ton of these that are so nice. I make my own lids, so little holes in them. But look at that. We're gonna go out and look at that hive that I put a cord on 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. We're gonna go down there and check because I know what you're thinking. They haven't eaten that much. Because I've done this for so many years, I guarantee you, don't know for sure, could be wrong, but I know how bees are this time of the year, late summer, early fall. I guarantee you in 48 hours, they drained an entire quart jar. Now this is insane. You're gonna think, well, they have goldenrod, they have all these flowers, and it could be true where you're at. But what we're gonna have to do is bring out the big guns now because I know that they've polished off a whole quart of my special ingredients that I give them to help them make bees of winter physiology. They wanna make bees of winter physiology. They need this stuff to do it. And so this is what we need to help them with. This is so cool. I'm so pumped up. We need to get into this video. Let's get started. I'm wearing my hat and veil because the last time I was here, the bees did not like me too much staying in this hive as long as I did. You were with me on that video. They were really buzzing my head pretty strongly and they remember me, and so I don't want to be stung today. Even though I'm not going to open the hive up at all, there's always going to be some perimeter scout bees that know me and they're going to be around my head. Hey, by the way, if you're looking at this and you see that I have this little window right here, I have a whole video on how I made this myself. Yeah, you can tell, right? Check it out right up here and you can click on this link and see how you can make your own. Now let's open this hive up. I could be really wrong, but I'm really betting on years of experience that what they've done is they've polished off this quart jar in 48 hours. And the reason I get so pumped up about this, if you can tell, it's because beekeepers don't understand how much bees consume and what they need, particularly this time of the year. All right, so let's just take this top cover off and see how much they've consumed. What has it been like? Oh, I knew it. Look at this. Boom! Bone dry in 48 hours, people. A little propolis around the edge. I want to show you this. Oh, small hive beetle. Got it. Nope, nope. Small hive beetle. Oh, I got it. Yep, small hive beetle. All right, here we go. Oh, now this is what I was telling you guys about. This still has holes in it that you can see through. The bees can stick their proboscis up there. But if you just stir it and mix it, some of this protein powder does settle down here, but believe me, enough does get mixed up in the sugar water. That's really cool. But look at that, 48 hours, and there's no telling how fast they drain this. So what we did, we brought down the big guns. Oh, just for fun, let me show you. Look at the bees. Look at them in there wanting some more food. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you can just see them in there. Look at them on this. This is where I normally might put a pollen patty, if that's your thing, but I don't like to use them because they do attract small hive beetle to me. All right, let's give them the big guns. Okay, so I'm going to take my half-gallon jar over here, set it up like this, let it drain just for a second. It might drip a little bit till the vacuum takes over, and we're going to give it right there to the bees. Look at that. Wow, wow, half-gallon. Now I need to talk to you about why this is so critical and why we really misunderstand feeding our bees in the fall. Look at that hive, it's pretty active, isn't it? Okay, the first mistake a lot of beekeepers make is they don't feed their bees in the fall. Sometimes they say, you know, I got honey in my deeps down there, and I've got a super down here with all frames capped over full of honey. That should be enough to last them all winter. Well, not necessarily, but that's not the point. The point is I need to raise a lot of bees of winter physiology. I do this by stimulating the colony with some of this good stuff that I'm mixing up, and this will stimulate them to have the queen lay a lot more bees, and those would be bees of winter physiology. It's not about me giving them 2-to-1 to have more stores to eat in the winter. They've got that. I need more bees to make heat in the winter time. This is a boom, no brainer. Woo, I'm excited. All right, and the second mistake a lot of beekeepers make is they try to feed this in the entrance during the fall. That will create a robbing frenzy. Don't put this anywhere near your entrance. If you feed bees with an entrance feeder in the fall, scout bees from other colonies, even feral colonies, will sniff out this sugar water in the opening of your hive, and they'll go back and tell the hive, there's sugar water. They're going to go into your hive, not only take this out, they're going to take all the honey. They're going to rob your hive. Don't feed in the entrance. You always have to feed them in a concealed way. That's why I invented this, a concealed way to keep it at the top. That way no robber bees even know it exists. It's really cool. A third mistake beekeepers make, and in my opinion only, but if you're in an area where small hive beetles are a problem and you're using pollen patties, feeding pollen patties can really attract a lot of beetles in late summer, early fall. So I'm putting my protein, mixing it with the water to act like the natural nectar they get with protein or pollen mixed in their nectar they're bringing back to the colony. Boy, this is a no-brainer. I'm just giving you so much free information, and I've done this for years and it really works so well for me. But by all means, the biggest mistake is beekeepers just don't understand how you need to raise bees in winter physiology. Now, I'm speaking to you guys that live in the north or a climate where your bees might be killed by cold winter weather. And so you're going to need a lot of bees. That's what I'm teaching you today. Feed your bees now. Stimulate them to raise more brood of winter physiology. Now, people have asked me before, David, isn't that a problem to go through the winter with so many bees? And what are you going to do? Well, I feed my bees all winter with my winter bee kinds. I keep feeding them. They stay warm by eating nutritious food. I essentially take this and put it in a hard candy in my winter bee kinds. It's really cool. So a lot of beekeepers just don't believe that bees eat so much food. But look at this. They ate this in 48 hours. This is amazing. This means they needed it. They needed this so badly that they just scarfed it down in 48 hours, people. That's how badly they needed it, even though they might be bringing in a little bit of goldenrod, even though they may have this honey super filled up here. Look at that. That's really cool. This is going to keep them thinking, hey, we can keep raising brood because we've got incoming like nectar that we had in the spring, so let's crank up brood production. I gotta stop. This is too exciting. This has got me too pumped up. Anyway, I want you to feed your bees if you can. Find out a way that you can really implement the things that I'm teaching you for better winter survival. It's really an awesome thing. So today I'm going to show you how I mix all the ingredients to do a top feeder in the fall on my hives. The simplest way to think about it, I like to start with the quart jar. So what I like to do in the fall is feed them 1-to-1 sugar water to stimulate them to lay more brood, bees of winter physiology. So I got 1 part of warm water here, and I'm just going to add sugar. Now the sugar doesn't have to be exactly 1-to-1. It can be a little bit shy of that, but we'll just go ahead and dose it on up there pretty close. Now what I like to add now is a teaspoon. Teaspoon is about 4.9 milliliters, or 5 milliliters. And so we'll find a teaspoon here. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of protein powder. This is actually a powder. I'll leave a link in the description below. I add that because everything bees eat, they eat through a straw. They're proboscis, sort of like a straw. and they suck up nectar, and nectar has grains of pollen in it. So that's what we're trying to do, is give them more protein pollen substitute as they take in the sugar water. And then I also add a teaspoon of Honeybee Healthy. This is per quart. And then I add 1 teaspoon of Amino B Booster. Amino B Booster is amino acid, so another form of protein. All right, so that's what my bees are going to enjoy eating. Now let's go ahead and top it on off to a quart size here. Add some more water to bring it up, and let's just mix it up really, really good. Some people ask me, well, will the protein powder actually mix well in the water? It does. It mixes good enough for me. If you really want to mix it up great, where it doesn't always collect on the inside of the jar lid, then certainly you could put it in a food blender and blend it more nicely, get it more dissolved. But this is really good here. So some people think I have a secret recipe, and it's really not a secret at all. I'm just trying to give bees what they eat naturally in the spring. They, you know, 1-to-1 nectar. Nectar is more water-based, very moist, 70 to 80% moisture level in nectar. And then they dry the nectar down to 18% for honey. So this is more like simulating spring. It's a little bit more like nectar, 1-to-1. Some people say, why don't you give them 2-to-1 in the fall? Well, 2-to-1, they're just going to store it, and if it doesn't dry out, it crystallizes. So I'm trying to use this to raise bees of winter physiology. Make the queen lay more brood. And then my protein powder that I give them is simulating what they get when they go to a flower. They get grains of pollen that they also have mixed in to their nectar that goes into their second gut for protein powder. Amino B does the same thing. So this is going to do the trick for us here. Once I get it all mixed up, I'm going to take a lid like this, and it has tiny little holes in it, and I'm going to put it on my jar. And then I'm going to put this on a top feeder, my Burns Bees feeding system that I invented actually, and I'm going to feed my bees this fall with this. Now, if you didn't see the video where I actually put this on the hive a few days ago, and we actually took a super off of here, they had 2, and I moved it to another colony that needed it. If you didn't see that video, check it out right here, and I'll see you over there.